Hello, this is Thursday, August 29th, and I'm with Jim Serena, and we received 300 leafcutter bee cocoons yesterday from Crown Bees, and we're in the process of putting them out. Now the process of putting leafcutter bees out is very different than what you do with mason bees. So Jim and I are going to kind of go over those instructions. I've looked at a couple of videos. I think Jim probably has too. So hopefully we'll do it right this time. I'll finish by saying that I did collect the bee cocoons that we put out several weeks ago. Of course, they were all dead because when I talked to Dave Hunter, he said, "Gene, whatever you do, don't put them in the refrigerator because you'll kill them." And that's exactly what happened. But these are alive and well, and some of them are already emerging, and that will be part of the process Jim and I will discuss here in a moment.
Okay, so this is Jim and Gene again, and we've been talking about how to release our leafcutter bees. We had these instructions here, of course, we just showed you. So the key instruction here is 3A if the outside temperature, 3B if the outside temperature is more than 90 degrees F. Then you should release the emerged bees from the bag every 2 or 3 days and keep the unemerged ones inside where it's less than 80 degrees. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour these two into a tray to see which ones are emerged, and then we can let those go and put the other ones back in the bag, put them in a safe 70 to 80 degree environment in the house, and then just repeat that every day or 2 or 3. So go ahead, Gene, why don't you start that one there.
Okay, this is our first one. I'm just going to slowly release the cocoons in here. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to carefully look to see if there's any emerging ones that show activity. And by the way, just before I came over here, as per the instructions, I kept these in the refrigerator for maybe 5 minutes. It was probably less than 5 minutes, just to cool them down if they were active, like we did with the mason bees. But I don't really see much activity here.
I don't see any activity.
That's interesting. However, I do see a lot of cocoons.
Oh, here's one. There's one bee. Here, let me get a good shot of him. Okay. There's one bee moving around there.
Yeah, we have a couple. Maybe they're just slowly
They're slow,
coming
which is
out.
good because we're not fast ourselves.
But Jim, I'm observing that most of these cocoons have plugs in them. So that would suggest to me that they're still viable. We've kept them in an environment where they wouldn't die. There are a few here that look like they've emerged, but aren't really going anywhere, I guess. There's one that kind of wants to fly away.
Yeah, so let me grab maybe a cup or something we can put them in, and then we'll bring them out. Okay, we got the second bag, which we opened here. We poured it in here. We found one bee. We used a spoon to grab them. We put them in here. You can see we got now 2 bees. That's all we got that emerged out of these 2 bags. So we're going to take these out and put them in the bee house that we have, which is currently in the sun, but we are going to move it to a completely shady spot because it is still very, very hot here in Okay, it's still the 29th, right?
Right.
And we're out here where we have our bee house. We're about to let our leaf cutters go. We got 2 of them in here per the instructions that we just showed you. So what we want to do first before we release them is we want to move this bee house from that wall where it gets direct sun, as you can see right now, and we're going to try putting it up here in this shade of this tree. So let's try doing that first. We're about to put the bees here. We've moved the bee house here into the shade. We've also discovered that we do have some of the smaller tubes up in the top in the block besides the other ones, so we have a mixture of them. So Gene's going to put the 2 that we found that are emerged. He's going to let those go in there. I guess you can just put the whole cup in there and leave it in there, right?
Yeah, one last observation before I do this is that now this house is a year too old and there are no capped holes here. So our hope is that over this season, what we're doing now will be plugged.
We'll see some activity, right?
So here we go.
Okay.
I think I just saw one fly away.
Yeah, well, there's one right there. Right on the end of the tube. And he just took flight. And we wanted to point out that also over here on these flowers and herb garden, you can see all sorts of insect activity, including bees flying all over. So there is flowers and such here, also over here onto these. And then this tree here is has a lot of yellow flowers that you see a lot of bees on. So we do have a fair amount. I mean, it's not a super garden, but there is evidence of a lot of bee activity. Palm trees.